Chiti, I think
Yeah,
they asked you.
yeah, I just want to share. All right. Yeah, I think I've got things up.
You are in mute, ma'am.
Oops. All right. Hi. So my screen is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we are Jobin and me are swapping in for today because actually both of us are at a conference, but Jobin is presenting right now there. So I'll be taking today's session, and Jobin will be taking next Tuesday. Yeah. All right, I think we can start right away. For those of you whom I haven't met earlier, hi everyone. I'm Chati Arvind, TA for the course in the basic course in ornithology. I am a PhD student at ISA Tirupati, and I'm sure all of you have gone over this week's lecture series by Dr. Anand Krishnan on physiology as well as anatomy. So we'll be covering a few basics on that. And a few, if anyone has any questions to ask, please feel free to ask them. I think we can start with the first question itself. Just hang on a second. Oops, this is gone. Yikes. Okay. Has the slide changed?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so cranial kinesis is the term for significant movement of skull bones relative to each other in addition to movement at the joint between the upper and the lower jaw. The presence of kinesis is linked to feeding. Where will the kinesis likely be absent? So your options are A, in animals which must exert powerful bite forces, B, in animals which swallow large prey whole, C, in animals which grip awkwardly shaped food items, and or D, in animals which feed in the water via suction feeding.
A. In animals which must exert powerful bite forces. A.
Okay, so one option for A. Okay, Pushkar says B, Sachin says D. Okay, anyone else? Who else is here with us? Govind, Jyoti, Payal, Purba, Purna. Govind says D.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. I came rather late. So, which question are we in?
Yeah, we are still in this is the first question. So, yeah, I just gave a heads up to everyone that Jobin and me are swapping for the day because Jobin has a presentation to do right now at a conference. So the first question is what is exactly on the screen right now. So cranial kinesis is a term for significant movement of skull bones relative to each other in addition to the movement at the joint between the upper and the lower jaw. So the presence of kinesis is linked to feeding. And where will kinesis likely be absent? This is a general a structural anatomy question pertaining not just to birds. So it extends, so it will be absent in animals which must exert powerful bite forces, or in animals which swallow large prey whole, or in animals which grip awkwardly shaped food items, or in animals which feed in the water via suction feeding.
Chiti, sorry, my poster is still going on. I'm just telling you to click on the video as well. It's a 53-second
Yeah,
video.
cool. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a bunch of answers for D, A, mostly D and B. Okay, so the right answer is actually B. In animals which must exert powerful bite forces. So basically, if the so animals that need to, like for example, crocodiles, they need to have a really fused skull bones to exert large bite forces. Otherwise, probably their skulls will yeah, the bite is not going to be as powerful as it would have been if it were not fused. So the video out here, how do I play this? Links to.
Hello, Larry Whitmer here, bringing you the skull of a hyacinth macaw.
Is this audible?
Not audible but visible.
Not audible, ma'am, but visible.
Right. So how do we share audio? Hmm. I am not sure how to share audio in this.
Can you try that from the sharing option? If
Start presenting, start presenting. Let me try this again.
Largest of all living macaw species. This specimen was
Did this work?
yes,
All right.
Yes. Yes, yes.
I'll just, okay. All right, I'm just going to play it again.
Hello, Larry Whitmer here, bringing you the skull of a hyacinth macaw, the largest of all living macaw species. This specimen was carefully dissected by doctoral student James Nassif, and I just pulled it out of the dermestid colony and out of the cleansing bath of hydrogen peroxide and ammonia. So if we remove the mandible here for a second and carefully slide off the ramphotheca, we can get a really good look at this beautiful hyacinth macaw skull, and in particular focus on this mechanism for cranial kinesis, allowing it to elevate its upper jaw and retract it powerfully relative to the brain case.
Yeah, so this was a video on the cranial kinesis movement in a hyacinth macaw. So which type of animal do you think this is amongst, well, B, C, and D?
I think it's A actually.
C.
The
C.
Yeah, so it's actually C because the hyacinth, so these macaws and other parrots do grip awkwardly shaped food items. So they need to have a cranial, skeletal structure in the head to allow for cranial kinesis, right? Uh,
Yeah, I agree with that. I did once see a documentary though that said that macaws and parrots in South America, like the hyacinth macaw, have very strong bites compared to their size to break open hard nuts. So doesn't that include both A and C?
Yeah, I think it's probably like relative to body size, the bite force. So, in the case of animals which must exert powerful bite forces, we are actually referring to animals like crocodiles that have rigid skulls and very less kinesis.
Right, I see.
Yeah. So,
Ma'am, can we know the answer again, ma'am? Sorry,
yeah,
I couldn't catch it.
it's actually A. Yeah.
I couldn't get it that time.
Yeah, it's A. A is the correct answer. All right, I'll just go on to the next question. Right. So the next question, the evolution of birds from their dash predecessors was characterized by the gradual reduction, loss and fusion of many skeletal elements and the expansion of pneumatized spaces within some bones. So what predecessors are we talking about?
B. Theropod.
Okay, one answer for B. I'm going to wait for some more answers to come in. I don't know if people, I don't think people like, oh, okay. B, 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 B. D doesn't include, oh, B such as pythons. Oh, sorry, I missed a lot of things in the chat box. D doesn't include stonefish and suckerfish. I'm not actually sure of this. Yeah, I'm assuming so. Okay, yeah. So the answer is B. So what exactly is pneumatization? Can someone explain what is pneumatization? Well, we have the diagram here.
Hollowing of the bones so that it becomes much more weight, lesser weight, so that the birds can stay up air, and also uh, a fusing of bones to make it, as much as reduce the skeletal mass.
Right,
Unnecessary bones are taken out
right.
through evolution, and also the bones become hollow, much more hollower than the actual bones of other mammals,
Yeah,
which makes them lightweight also.
lightweight. But what usually happens to, like, when we make things really lightweight? What also happens, which doesn't happen in the case of birds?
They become brittle.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, they don't become brittle in birds because due to due to the fusion of bones
Mm-hmm.
in a systematic manner, they don't become brittle,
Right.
and that's what happens, especially in bird case.
Right. Yeah, so that is true. So pneumatization results in the bones becoming hollow but not brittle. So that is a really important thing.
Birds don't have bone marrow, right?
Do birds have bone marrow? Well, I'm not sure. Let me just Google that up.
Ma'am, I think chickens, domestic chickens have, ma'am. Usually, those people who eat non-veg, they would know, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
the
that is actually true. Yeah, I don't know what is the localization of the marrow in which bone types. Probably like uh, I'm assuming the largest number of like the RBC production is happening in the large bones, so they would have definitely bone marrow. Okay, so it's written pneumatic bones which is hollow and devoid of bone marrow. Oh, it's written it's absent in aves. Okay, so birds have bone marrow, but not in all of their bones. Bone marrow is used to create RBCs. And is someone else also Googling this? Please feel free to add on. Yes, they do have bone marrow and large bones such as the femur. Okay, cool. So our guess was right. Sorry, Jyoti, I think I'm not non-veg people. I'm not really sure what that sentence was, but yeah, cool. Okay, so we have an answer for that. So yes, certain bones do have marrow because yes, RBCs need to be produced, right? Right. Okay, so fused bones of the tail in birds is known as A carina, B a pygostyle, C a metatarsus, or D a rhamphotheca.
B.
Okay, so one answer for B. Okay, everyone is voting for B. Right, so that's the correct answer. Uh, fused bones, tail bones are known as collectively as the pygostyle. Okay, so the size of the dash is proportional to the power of flight. Is it A carina, B furcula, C metatarsus, or D rhamphotheca?
Karina, A.
Okay, A carina.
Because the bigger Karina is there, the birds will not be bigger and it will not be flying to that much height. If it is a small Karina, then much force is created and they can fly high. So those birds which have high chest like ostriches and all those things, they can't fly. But smaller birds can fly because their chest is a bit smaller and can generate much more power.
Okay, so it is, so you're saying it is inversely proportional, not directly proportional.
No, I meant directly proportional. If it is smaller, then it can fly high. If it is bigger, then it can't fly high.
So
Or
that makes it inversely proportional, right? Like
so
larger the
sorry, ma'am.
carina, lesser the flight.
Yeah. Lesser the flight. Yeah, that's what I.
Okay. Any other theories to what Lakshmi has mentioned?
Well, I think the size of the carina is inversely proportional to the size of the bird
Okay.
to an extent because larger birds have bigger wings and more surface area for their wings and can generate more lift.
Okay.
Smaller birds, however, need stronger muscles in order to achieve power of flight, and therefore they need a bigger carina. Proportionally speaking.
Right. So, so the carina of which birds are stronger?
Hummingbirds, for example.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
That's what I also say. When small birds
Right.
have much more stronger carina,
Right.
and bigger birds,
Yeah, yeah.
large birds.
Don't worry. I wasn't saying you were wrong. I was just
No,
I
I
was
got
just
confused, ma'am. I just got confused.
yeah,
I
yeah.
always get confused about inversely proportional things, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. Yeah. Yeah, so I think everyone's gotten that right. So you need like a stronger carina to attach more uh, muscles to enable in flight, right?
Excuse me, what is the option B, furcula? What is its
What
purpose?
is a furcula? Yeah, tell me, what is a furcula?
It's the
It's the bones, shoulder bones.
the
Okay,
clavicles fused together. I mean, what is its purpose? That is.
what do you think is the purpose? Does anyone know?
It's like the coat hanger, ma'am. It holds on the shoulder bones. What shoulder bones we have as humans,
Right.
uh, that's almost similar in the aves of ma'am. The same purpose. It holds everything together from the neck down to the head upwards.
Right.
I don't know the exact scientific words, but this is what I understood.
Yeah, it's probably something, it's definitely linked to
Feathers,
flight, right? Yes, Jyoti?
feathers, for feathers.
Uh, the furcula is linked to feathers? How is that?
I think she meant wings, ma'am. Like
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
wings.
So yeah, it is essential for, yes, flight. And
Yes.
Rishikesh has put something strengthening the thoracic skeleton to withstand the rigors of flight. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Who asked this question? I think it was Govind.
Yes, it was me,
Yeah.
ma'am.
All right. So let's go on to the next question. Okay. So birds have a relatively fixed receptor. Birds have relatively fixed receptor sensitivities despite marked diversity in their ecologies, lifestyle, and diets. This can mean that plumage colors have evolved in response to the diversity of habitats they occupy. Plumage colors have evolved independently of the receptor sensitivities of bird eyes. Plumage colors have likely evolved in response to the avian visual system, or none of the above.
C.
Okay, one answer for C.
Because plumage
See,
is invariably dependent on the mating. I mean, like most of the birds, they show off a lot before mating, no, ma'am. So it's very crucial thing that what the bird, the opposite sex, actually is able to visualize. That's what helps in breeding success. So plumage colors like, have to be evolved in response to avian visual system is the right thing according to me.
Okay, okay, cool. So two people for C, one person for A. C, C, and up to a certain extent A.
I was initially going for A.
Okay,
Um, reason being they want to camouflage with the surroundings, but even in that case, they will need a sensitivity in the eyes
right,
to understand how the surrounding is.
right. So what would your final answer be?
Now I'm inclined towards C.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting way of going about answering. Yeah, so yeah, anyone, yeah, Govind?
well, the truth is, I don't find any of the options satisfactory, but I feel C is the most satisfactory.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly same way. I thought rest of the lot is C for me,
You
but
think
nothing
none of the
actually
above?
comes closer to it. None of the above we can't give, ma'am, because all of it actually gives somewhat answering. But the closest
It's
one is C.
Right.
it's an unwritten rule in MCQs that none of the above is never taken.
Okay, so now
Exactly,
we'll
exactly, very rarely.
now we'll throw in some googlies later. Watch out for them.
Oh, so now it is like none of the above. Is the googly now?
Oh, so you're falling for it, huh?
No, no, I'm not falling. I'm asking if the googly is
No,
started or
no,
not.
no, like give me your answer. Like I have a bunch
Yeah,
of
C,
C's.
ma'am. I stuck
Okay.
with C, ma'am,
Yeah,
because that's what I think.
okay, cool. So yeah, so C is the right answer. So plumage colors have likely evolved in response to the avian visual system because if there is no perception for certain different kinds of plumage or certain factors, then it need not have been there, right? So there needs to be like some response to it for selection to have taken place and evolution to have occurred as well on such a
Well,
large radiation. Of course, you can have random things happening, but yeah.
well, I'd like to add that the options, especially including C, don't seem to have much correlation with the question, at least
Uh,
in my opinion.
okay, so maybe we can, yeah, have a discussion on this once Jobin is on. Is Jobin here? No, Jobin's not here. Okay, so yeah,
One more point. I think
yeah.
the plumage colors regarding flamingo is because of their diets. I mean, the
Oh
algae
no,
and
Sachin, you have just taken another question off. We
no,
will.
I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know, but I was thinking because it doesn't have anything related to the, because it's not related to maybe the sexual selections or whatever.
Mhm.
So I was thinking whether it can be independent of the bird's sensitivities or whatever, or the
Okay,
receptor sensitivity.
hold,
Sir, Sachin, sir, I'm
hold on to
Yeah.
sorry to
that
interrupt
thought.
No,
you.
don't call me
Uh,
sir as GT or
okay,
something.
Sachin.
Yes.
Sachin, it's just that,
Yeah,
like
hang
you,
on, hang
as you
on, hang
said,
on. Lakshmi, hang on, hang on. We have a question on that. Let's hold this discussion till we get to that slide.
Okay.
sure, sure.
Yeah, I appreciate the enthusiasm, but yeah. Okay, so let's close this question at C. Let's just move on to the next one. I promise I'll give you time to discuss on the flamingo part. Uh, or should we just go to that question now? No, we'll do this. I'm not sure if all of you had attended Dr. Anand's question and answer session, but there was someone who asked a question on birds that are, some birds feed on a lot of trash or something, or food waste, and some birds don't. So I'm not sure if this was any of you in this group had asked that question or not. But there is a term known as urban avoiders and urban exploiters. So there are certain species that have more of an affinity to be found in cities, and certain species are not found in cities. So can you give me some? So this is a study done in uh, I think it's South America. But can you give me an example of urban exploiters in Indian cities?
Rock
Common
pigeon.
myna,
Feral
Okay,
Crows,
rock pigeon.
okay,
common myna,
yeah,
and
crows,
black kite. And black kite.
right, yeah,
crows are urban
Usually,
exploiters.
common myna is the most successful urban exploiter. They are like so invasive that they even drive off the normal urban birds like crows and such stuff. So one of the reasons for them being such an invasive species is they are a very good exploiter of the settings, urban settings.
okay. So we have crows, common myna. What else? What is
Feral rock
even?
pigeon.
Sorry.
Feral rock pigeon or
Yes,
blue.
I was looking out for pigeons. Aren't pigeons the most common urban exploiters?
Yeah.
I know, ma'am. Actually, I also thought pigeons are the most common bird, but actually, myna is the most common urban bird. It seems, ma'am.
Okay, where are you sourcing this information from?
Google, ma'am. Sorry, Google.
You're like,
No, no, not like that. Not now, ma'am. Not now. For some other purposes, I was searching for some other thing. I
okay.
came across that, and this point lodged into my mind. I wanted to ask somebody if it's true or not, and
Uh,
I just correlated with it. Yeah.
Lakshmi, your point, I mean, are right in the light of observations. I mean, all of those points. I think the crows are actually, I see those are reduced in the urban population to some extent. Although there are house crows reduction, I don't see. I mean, from my own observation, mynas, black kites, and feral rock pigeons all are there. But what I have observed is that the pigeons are getting more and more braver with our activities, even though regarding their breeding or nesting, all these behaviors, I have
Because
these
that's
are my
because we feed
observation.
them, lah. We feed them. We feed crows and pigeons. but
Right,
we
but
don't
I mean,
feed the
we
kites
do
as
not
well.
specifically feed pigeons, right? We just throw some food articles, and the birds just come,
Actually,
right?
I
For
might have to step in here. We do specifically feed
Yeah,
pigeons, and there
exactly,
are.
exactly.
I'm not sure if you are familiar with
In cities of
kabutar
Hyderabad and
birds.
all, yeah, we can see people feeding
Yeah,
yeah,
pigeons.
I understand, but I had also seen places where they feed parrots, right?
sure.
So
Yeah, that's
this
there.
is
But parrots, no, don't no, they don't. Parrots only specifically around. I have seen only around temples or something. But in general, people who feed pigeons are more
no,
than
but does it also mean that pigeons have more adapted more towards the urban food uh, habits or the material?
Yeah, actually, they are adapted. Partly,
So,
you're right.
so
I don't know.
pigeons are. So, what is the difference between pigeons and miners? Can you tell me, like, uh,
Difference in the sense,
yeah, I don't want to give away that, but what do you
okay.
think in terms of what do they want from humans?
Shelter.
Food, shelter and food.
Okay, yeah. So like both things. Food. So
Yeah.
what type of diets do miners or pigeons have?
Myna is insectivorous, but it can also feed on grains.
Right.
Pigeons are exclusively like if they are fed by humans, they are exclusively granivorous.
Correct. So yeah, you've hit a good point, right? And most of the food that is fed by in large bulk sources all over is usually grain. So that's why you
Yeah.
have a lot of pigeons usually coming there. If you have cooked food sources usually scattered around, you will have multiple different birds. You'll have miners, crows, and all, but you will rarely see as many miners and crows feeding on raw grain, right?
But another observation for me was that pigeons are more congregated toward the urban population compared to the villages or the farms where there are abundant variety of grains, right?
Right. And why do you think that is? That brings to the second point, which one of you mentioned.
The shelter part you're
Right.
saying?
Exactly. So as the name itself suggests, feral rock pigeon. What are they looking for?
Shelter.
I haven't analyzed the feral rock
Yeah.
terminologies earlier, but
So
you.
rock pigeons usually, I mean, not usually, like in the wild, they nest in crevices in rocks. So, what's happening in urban environments? Do you ever see miners nesting in people's houses? Do you
No.
see them nesting in buildings? No, right? You never see them nesting in buildings
Right.
because rock pigeons, they look for these crevices which are now designed by humans. They have ready-made homes. Of course, yes, you do see rock pigeons nesting on tube light with a single grain of a single strand of straw as their nest. But see, that's how fast they have adapted to nesting, right? They can nest anywhere, literally anywhere in any building, on top of an AC, on top of a shelf. Yeah, Govind, go ahead.
Well, I'd like to point out that feral rock pigeons haven't, in my opinion, technically adapted to urban lifestyle that well. I would say that the urban lifestyle just happens to be very suited for them.
Right,
Probably.
so they have adapted to it, right? They are congregating and multiplying in an urban environment. Do you see feral rock pigeons in the forest?
Yeah, no, we don't.
Right.
The My point was that they haven't specifically adapted so well. It's that the urban environment is just that best suited for them. They haven't changed as much as that. It's just perfectly for them.
Okay, so what came first? It's like the chicken or the egg story. Well, the rock pigeons have been here for a long time, and urbanization has not been here for a long time, right? In the scale of time, urbanization is what is rapidly happening now. So these birds have moved from rural areas to urban areas because they are being able to exploit the resources that are available to them by humans. I mean, you are free to counter argue this, or anyone is free to counter argue this.
Well, I feel your point just kind of enforces my point, saying that they found a, let's say they found a better suited home and they moved in there.
Okay.
So, but another aspect, Govind, here could be that it's like me preferring something, right?
That is what I
It's
said.
more
Yes.
like, yeah,
So what I'm saying
the
is,
first population is like they might have suited the home is suited, so they have gotten the same concept in during the first population or something. But the successive breeding and the successive generations, they have some kind of mutation in them, some kind of adaptment to the situation, so that they can sustain in that place, right? Yeah, the first comers would have seen the home, okay, it's suitable home, I will get into it like that. But after that, the successive generations have to successfully be alive in that particular situation, right? So they must have adapted in some way or the other. I don't know what adaptations they have gone through, but adaptation is like hands in glove situation. If you don't adapt to a particular habitat or particular environment, you can't survive much.
I'm not
So if
saying I'm not saying they didn't adapt. I'm saying they definitely did. I'm just saying it was the urban environment allowed them to adapt. It was easier for them to
What
adapt
do you
to.
mean by urban environment allowed them to adapt?
It was easier for them to adapt to. It
Rather,
was
as opposed to?
as opposed to say a different kind of new environment whereby they were
maybe
encountering.
less of threat from predator threat, or more of availability of food like that,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, Lakshmi, yeah, you're on the right trajectory. Low predation, abundant availability of resources, ability to, in fact, probably urban birds nest all the time because they have available resources all the time. Unlike,
Ma'am, but when everything is like if it is like abundant food
Mhm,
and low predation,
mhm.
then the clutch size should be less, no, ma'am.
Well, I think pigeons only lay two eggs or something, not
yeah,
more than
no
that.
to
But how can be like they are so much of pigeons, no, ma'am? Like
Because
there the frequency is more, I think.
yes, correct. That's exactly right. So the minute if you go and you see a pigeon that has laid an egg, if you go and break the egg, it's probably going to lay another egg which will be
Hmm.
fertile. So the frequency of laying eggs
yeah,
is much.
that should be less, no, ma'am, because there is abundance of food.
No,
Usually that is done.
it will be more, right?
Oh,
Because they have more abundant resources to raise progeny. So
okay, I got it, ma'am.
in the
Yeah,
wild, usually what happens with wild birds, they time their breeding cycle based on, what do you think?
availability of food
Correct. And
and low
availability of food is driven by
uh,
Seasonal variation.
seasonal variations.
right.
Yeah.
So we are completely removing the seasonal variation part in an urban environment, right? Because food is
Yeah.
available all the time. Whereas if you go into the wild or in a rural environment, climatic factors or the environment drives the availability of food resources, be it insects or be it grain, crop, any fruiting or flowering plant.
I got it, ma'am.
Yeah.
Another point that I want to put forward for moving this that around adaptation. So adaptation may include your behavior, your physiological or other changes. So I would say that pigeons are trying to set up their colony in the urban regions, which means that their behavior is changing from forest to urban. So I would say that that behavior itself is an adaptation.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know whether the other
Yeah.
changes have gone into that or not.
Sure, Sachin, I think you're also on a right trajectory. Like, I think there is a lot to play on animal personalities as well. So, within a species or between species, there are, yeah, Govind. So, there are species that can, they are probably more habituated to being around humans as opposed to other species. And even within the same species, yeah, you do have personality types. But yeah, I think that's going down the rabbit hole now. But yeah.
Well, I'd like to add a point to this. I saw this documentary on Animal Planet once about raccoons
Mm-hmm.
in cities.
Yeah.
Sure, they're mammals, but it's similar.
Sure,
How
sure.
how raccoons in New York City are have slowly evolved and have become their own separate subspecies, a different kind from wild raccoons. In that,
Mm.
wild raccoons or wild animals in general have a tendency to be more cautious to new or
Right.
different things. However, since raccoons that live in the cities don't experience different kind of dangers and different kind of opportunities, their raccoons in the cities have become a lot more bolder and a lot more curious.
Yeah.
They've actively changed their behavior so that they're willing to
Did we
sorry
lose Govind?
Yeah.
sorry they are willing to meet new challenges, explore new
Yeah.
opportunities in spite of the
Sure.
dangers.
Yeah. So the term you're actually referring to is boldness. So yes.
And curiosity.
Yeah.
So this can also translate to pigeons in that their behavior is being altered so that they can live in the city better.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely happening. It's definitely happening. And if any of you would like to do an experiment, do feel free to pick any model organism that is found along an urban-rural gradient and do any experiments. Like I can think of one experiment right now, but would you like to think of something that you can do to see if human habituation uh, affects the same species along an urban or a rural, in an urban or a rural setup? I don't know
Uh,
if, yeah.
Changing.
I'm thinking of rock pigeon and spotted dove. Spotted dove is seen usually in the rural area, but not in the cities. And even if it is cities, it's in the suburban area where there is a much amount of greenery around.
Mm-hmm.
So I would
Sure.
think that if we can compare how rock pigeons survive or fare in a truly urban setup,
Mm-hmm.
and the spotted dove, which is kind of a specialist in this rural or semi-urban suburban areas, we might get some info about how they have settled and how they have created their own niches.
Sure. Yeah, that could be an interesting thing to also look at. To I don't know how closely related they are, but they are, yes, of the Columbidae family. Yes. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of this term known as FID.
No,
It's
ma'am, not heard.
FID. It's flight initiation distance. It is basically the maximum distance up to which you can, concept of avoider. Yes, sure. Yeah, it is. They do have blurred lines, Saptarshi. Yeah, as you can see in the graph itself, the activity period of the avoiders are highest during the uh, period when the human activities are low. So yeah, these experiments have been done with across several different species as well. I think there's a study on activity of, it's either bears or tigers using camera traps in areas that do have human habitation at the boundaries of the forest, and the activities of the bears or the tigers, sorry, can't remember the organism, it's like inversely linked to the human activity period. So the number of times a human passes through a camera trap, they have mapped it on a graph, and then the bear or the tiger, whatever the large mammal, they have mapped that, and that is inversely proportionate. So yeah, they are kind of like, they time their activity periods differently. But yeah, what was I talking about earlier? Yeah, flight initiation distance. So it's basically the closest you can reach to an organism before it gets scared and moves away, right? So suppose you have a pigeon in front of you, you walk 2 steps in front of it, so it allows you to approach till let's say like 3 meters close to it, 2 meters close to it, 1 meter close to it. Probably birds or animals that are present in an urban setup will allow you to approach them to a much closer distance, as opposed to the same species in a rural environment or a forested environment, which might just fly away at a much further distance, right? I don't know if this made sense.
Yes, interesting point.
Yeah. So flight initiation distance is something that is quite commonly used to see how animals, whether animals are bold or shy. And yeah, I think anyone can do a common experiment in their backyards or in their cities with using this.
Ma'am, in common miners, crows, and even in pigeons, they are all happily doing their own business, even if we are like half a meter next to them, like,
Yeah,
and they are busy. They don't fly away. They
shut up.
only fly away when there is honking of vehicles or trains or something.
Yeah.
Even when the train is so near, they still are pecking at the ground.
Yeah.
So they,
Yeah, they are probably like very, very habituated. But even if you take birds, like as you mentioned, like trains or traffic signals, like birds away from heavy traffic roads versus birds in like
yeah,
completely
yeah.
urban
Actually,
areas.
I also noticed something, and I have even told some eBird reviewers that there was this one red-vented bulbul pair which was nearby our home. I don't think if it is a pair or something, but I used to see two all the time, and one was calling to another. One was in next to my home, in front of my home. The tree it was one. Another one was the opposite direction. There is a railway track near my home. So when it was calling, when the train came honking to the station is next to our home.
Right.
So when it started honking, it stopped calling. Once it stopped honking and it went off, then it started calling. So I thought it might be coincidence or something, and I observed it for like 3 to 4 days because that's what I could do. After that, they didn't visit here for a long time. But in those 3 4 days also, it waited till the train honking was stopped or train horns were stopped, and then they called. As if they were making sure that their voice carried
Sure.
above the human nuisance.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like it was very fascinating way of adaptation. I thought.
Yeah, yeah, you're completely right. And there are a lot of scientists who have also tested this. So it's known as, I feel I'm giving off a lot of things of the acoustic part beforehand. Maybe I'll not give this away. Let someone, I'm sure it'll be covered, or we'll cover it during that session. But yeah, what the observation that you have made is a very valid observation. And it indeed is not coincidence. It is due to the fact that the bird does want its communication to be transmitted. So yeah, it's not a random chance event. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next question. Okay, so here you can have your flamingo discussion here. So where does the pink coloration in flamingos come from?
The
Brine,
algae and phytoplanktons.
brine shrimp and algae, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, algae and phytoplanktons fish then.
Okay.
But here I would like to answer Sachin's question that it's not dependent on a sexual selection or something. I would like to say that yeah, the color is taken upon by the birds through their food. But even then, the amount of the coloration and where it and to achieve what level is decided upon based on the female response. See, juveniles also eat the same thing, what the adults do, but they don't take up the colors. But only in the breeding plumages, only which is ready to breed. Those mature birds get the color.
Oh no, no,
To,
juveniles also like get the color, but it takes them a while. So in this image actually out here, I haven't given credit because
no, actually, I have seen live, but juveniles can be distinctively seen different because they are grayish
yes,
upper
yes,
part and light
this
grayish under
image
part.
has a juvenile at the back if you can see.
Yeah,
Instead
yeah,
of
there is one juvenile.
yeah.
What I'm trying to say is show off. Showing off is a major step in breeding success. And to that to happen, whatever source the color comes in, the birds have to know how to use it. So it doesn't matter if the plumage color is from the food or the environment or anything, but the plumage variation depends upon the breeding success, is what I feel.
Yeah, Lakshmi, you are I think right, but I just want to add one point here. Sorry to interrupt, Chiti.
No, no, go
Um,
ahead, go ahead.
because I am just quoting this from another experiment related to this plumage in flamingos. What they did or suggested is an experiment where they kept the flamingos probably in captive or something, but they did not feed them algae,
Okay,
that specific food, and
right,
the coloration had actually changed.
right,
They did not have that kind of pinkish plumage compared to what they used to have in the wild when they feed on the normal algae rich food or whatever.
right, right,
So I agree to the point that plumage is mainly for either the what do I say sexual selection
right.
or show off and hiding and all this thing. But maybe this is just an experiment that I read, so I just wanted
Right.
to share it here.
No, so the thing is, both of you are correct, but there is like a link between the two that has been missed. Yes, Govind.
Well, I was just gonna mention the link.
Yeah.
I have heard about that experiment, and I actually saw it in another documentary with David Attenborough, I think,
Okay.
and it explains that. Yes, as in flamingos get their pinkish color in their feathers from their food, which is algae and brine shrimp. But this pink color is also used as a way of sexual selection, since females will only pick males which have a greater, stronger shade of pink. Because a bird, a flamingo male with a greater pink color would imply greater feeding success and greater fitness,
Correct.
and therefore
Yeah.
helps in sexual selection.
Yeah. So that's the word, right? So yeah, I think Govind has made the link to it. So the word is fitness, and an advertisement for greater fitness is what is selected for by during like courtship displays or whatever. So yes, here coloration is derived from a food source. More the amount of food, appropriate food eaten results in brighter coloration, results in higher degree of selection, right?
Isn't sexual selection always related to the fitness?
Correct. Yes. So fitness is a quality of the. So out here, it is also driven by food, right? So if you have better access to better resources of food, it is going to reflect in your plumage,
Right, right.
right?
Agree.
Which is going to be in turn selected for. So basically, you are selecting a female is selecting a male that has a brighter pink coloration, but it also means that the male, that bird is able to acquire food better, right, or more. So it shows the health of the bird. So it shows a fitter individual. Of course, there are several different parameters to measure fitness, but in this case, let's just consider brightness or coloration of the pink color in flamingos as a signal for sexual selection. So, yeah. Okay, so let us go to the next question. Okay, back to MCQs. So, what is the pigment that gives a brown and rust coloration in birds called? Is it eumelanin? Is it pheomelanin? Is it carotenoids or is it xanthophylls?
A. A.
Okay, A. One answer for A.
I'm confused between A and B. Which melanin?
I think it's A.
Yeah, A or B, but I guess A. I will go with my guts.
Okay.
Uh, Because rust coloration is all because of melanin, but I don't know which eumelanin or pheomelanin. I would go with A because carotenoids will give pink and yellow, orange and red variations. Carotenoids, xanthophylls gives the other colors, red and what to say? I forgot the word. But melanin is the one which actually leads to all the rusty and brownish color. So I would go with A, I guess.
Okay, so we have, I think, 3 answers for A, one for C, one for B. Cool. So actually, the correct answer is B, pheomelanin. So actually, eumelanin gives blackish colors, and pheomelanin gives brownish and rust colors. So as you can see in this Eurasian robin out here, and so what is the how are melanin pigmentations different from, or melanin coloration different from carotenoid coloration?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the answer. It was A or
It's
B?
B,
B.
pheomelanin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then A is black and gray, right?
yeah,
Right. I
yeah. So, okay, so barring xanthophylls, how are melanin-based coloration different from carotenoid-based coloration? Any any ideas?
yeah, I remember.
There was
Because of
Okay, one person.
Well,
Yeah,
carotenoids are gained from the diet of the bird. The bird themselves can't produce it, whereas melanin is produced by the birds themselves.
right.
And also, melanin can be used in patterns, whereas carotenoids cannot. They're block colors.
yeah, I was about to say that, right?
I was
I,
also about to say that only.
I watched the color video just day before yesterday, so I'm fresh off it.
Yeah, I was also about to say that only. I mean, the one which is induced by the birds and one which is ingested by the birds.
Right. So one is externally sourced and one is genetic, right? So it is controlled by gene expression. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, so what is the pigment type unique to cetaciforms? What is that known as? That gives it these bright red, blue,
This
orange
was
colorations.
carotenoid. What we saw.
There's a unique
It's a unique pigment for parrots. It's called Psitacoflumen, I think. It starts with
close,
Cetaco,
close.
yeah, Cetaco human. Sorry, ma'am. It's not getting it right.
It also helps parrots get green color on the through pigment alone, right, ma'am?
Right. No, I think that
Can
is
I interrupt
to.
for a while here?
Yeah, sure,
Uh,
Rishikesh.
can we go back to the last question?
Okay.
That is eumelanin and pheomelanin. As far as my knowledge is concerned, it is eumelanin, black, brown.
No, actually, the rust shades are given by pheomelanin.
Pheomelanin, it is because of yellowish or reddish color is there for pheomelanin. But rusty color, brownish color, you see it is because of brownish is because of eumelanin, I suppose.
No, it's actually
Maybe probably.
pheomelanin because, in fact, so the thing is, we are also just recently studying some pigmentation in rufous color pigmentation in a species of bird that we are studying, and that is due to pheomelanin. So, rufous color.
Maybe we can have this
Sure,
question a little later and we'll confirm it by other
Um,
means.
sure.
ma'am, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I also have just another question for later. I'm not so sure what xanthophylls are and what they are in birds.
Yeah, that was like another googly. It's found in plants, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, xanthophylls.
It is found in leaves
Yeah,
when they do the when they do the like what is it? There is this
senescence.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah,
yeah
similar to
photosynthesis. They
carotenoids.
have this. xanthophyll A and xanthophyll B, there are two pigments which causes yellowish coloring, which is also seen in the what to say, in the photosynthesis whole setup. It is important to acquire oxygen. So that's only present in leaves, So I don't think xanthophyll is related to birds.
Oh no, it's not present in birds. Yeah. But it is a carotenoid which gives yellowish pigmentation to leaves. Yeah, as you mentioned during senescence. But yeah, we can catch up on the pheomelanin uh, part later. I think it was Rishikesh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me.
cool. Okay, so yes, this is actually cetacopholvin, which is the pigment which, yeah, gives a huge radiation of colors to parrots. Okay, so the next question. Okay, so sex-specific carotenoid metabolism results in what? And give any example of a bird species that you see this in. Okay, so let's just hang on to the first question. Sex-specific carotenoid metabolism.
Is it like the breeding plumage you're saying?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be
Even
the, yeah, you're
the
correct. What?
cattle egrets also have this breeding plumage. Maybe actually, so they get those brownish shades during the breeding time.
Okay. So I'm talking about just carotenoid metabolism.
I
I'm
see.
not sure about plumage coloration in cattle egrets. It's Egil rufus.
So I
Or
got your point here.
Oriole, ma'am, fully yellow bird, golden oriole.
Didn't see.
sex-specific carotenoid metabolism. What is that? What does that tell you? Orioles,
It's
both
basically
male and
saying that
female, are.
the colorful birds which might produce different colors during the breeding time.
Orange minivete.
Yeah, correct. So what? Okay, so you've given the answer to the bird species, but what is it? What is that term called?
Um, Sexual dimorphism.
Correct. Yeah. So, sex-specific carotenoid metabolism results in sexual dimorphism in birds such as the orange minivet, as Govind pointed out. So you have males that, well, they eat the same food, obviously, but males go a step ahead and process the carotenoids further to turn orange in color, whereas the um, female birds are yellow in color, and they also
The
have
same
this.
thing happens to oriole also, ma'am. Golden orioles, they are fully yellowish males, and females are very brownish drab thing.
They are also yellow though, right? It's not
Bright yellow
as,
with
yeah, yeah.
the
Pied
gray
bush
patches.
and the pied bush cat, ma'am. Females are brownish and males are fully black.
Sure,
You can
sure,
see
sure.
distinctly. Pied
Mm,
bush cat is also.
yes, that is sexual dimorphism surely in pied bush chat, but I'm not sure if that is carotenoid related because I am not sure.
Rogan.
Sure, yes. Token, like there are several dimorphic birds, yes. Yeah. So I'm not sure also if they are, if it's carotenoid based or is it some other gene expression which also could be genetically regulated. All right.
But sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
based on the previous question, that eumelanin, pheomelanin, I
Mm-hmm.
would say white bush chat sexual dimorphism is due to the metabolism of melanin, because bird is black and male is black and female is brown. So it's
Sure.
all about the melanin. Okay.
That is, yeah, so exactly. I mean, that could be the correct answer as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, if you look at it, yes, it could be melanin expression related. Okay, so the blue coloration in robin eggshells is due to Billy Warden. It is a structural color, or is it? Oh, okay. There's again xanthophylls, and then there's anthocyanins.
Hi, Varda Papa. Okachin po. Okachin po.
Okay, so any answers?
I'm going
Anthocyanins.
with C.
C. Anthocyanins.
Okay.
Cyanins means blue, ma'am. So I'll
Blue.
go with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is everyone typing in C? Okay, okay, okay.
Ma'am, in the previous question, someone mentioned Oriole. What was that in regard to?
Yeah, so there is no apparent dimorphism. Yes, they are, I mean, yes, they are dimorphic, but not so starkly dimorphic. So it's still shades of yellow, but I'm not sure about the expression or metabolism pathways of carotenoids in that.
What kind of Oriole? Yellow Oriole?
I think
Golden.
Indian
Golden,
golden
golden
oriole.
Golden
yellow.
Oriole.
Eurasian maybe Indian golden oriole.
Indian Golden Oriole.
Okay, so actually, the correct answer to robin eggshells is pigment known as biliverdin, which is actually derived from bile. And eggshells, these eggshells get their coloration as the egg is passed out of the oviduct and it gets this coating. So it's, yeah, biliverdin in this case. Of course, different blues come from different places as well, but in the case of robin eggshells, it is due to biliverdin.
The purpose of this blue.
Blue coloration. So there are like maybe let's hold on to this for the next class. I don't know if coloration is covered anywhere, but it's
The,
clearly not. It's not camouflage, right?
it's actually as I was searching about this thing, so they were indicating that the more the blue color,
Right,
it actually this is about the parental care I think part. So
right,
more better the color or brighter the color,
right.
the father is more interested in protecting that offspring or the eggs.
Okay, so this is where there is definitely, sorry, biparental care.
Hmm.
Interesting.
One of the eggs seems different, ma'am. Is that
I
brood
have no
parasite?
idea.
That's I think the photo related or
Sorry,
light
yeah,
related.
this is
There are a
still
lot of noise,
confusing.
ma'am. There are a lot of noise, ma'am. Unable to hear, ma'am.
Oh, is there a lot of noise? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, just now it got off, ma'am. Like somebody had on his mic. I'm sorry. Just now when I was talking, somebody switched off their
Probably
mic.
probably it was me because there is noise coming from outside, so I'm trying to mute.
No problem, no problem. Yeah, it's clear for me. Sorry, I'm like sick and also creating my own noise here, but yeah. Uh, yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what is the purpose of these blue colored eggshells, but I think this is a good point of discussion which we can keep. So I'm just going to make a note of it. And also, who asked this? Govind, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
so maybe like also do feel free to look up some information on this. And I feel eggshell coloration patterns are a huge arena of research, and it's very cool. And I think yeah, it's a good thing to explore if you would also like to, as to why eggshell coloration is blue or different in different
Hello?
colored birds. Oops, I lost internet. Yikes. Hello? Oops.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yes.
All right. Oops, I don't know what happened. Yeah.
It's conversation.
So another thing that, oh, it hung. Okay. Okay. And another thing I would also like to put in here is there is a lot of interesting research on brood parasites, right? Do all of you know what are brood parasites?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. No.
Right.
We
Yes,
know
ma'am.
that.
So there is a huge amount of research that has gone into brood parasite host and parasite coevolution, and there are these brood parasites that alter their eggshell colorations based on the host nest that they lay their eggs in. So that's another cool form of research that is still ongoing and very, very fascinating. So how the parasites try to overthrow the host by making them consider the host has laid an extra egg, because it looks very similar to the host eggs. The parasite eggs look very similar to the host eggs. So the rejection by the host is much lesser. And then how the host evolves better sensory mechanisms to recognize a parasite egg and actually remove it from the nest. So yeah, there's really cool research on that.
Is it possible that this blue color is a way to deter brood parasites as a way to distinguish their own eggs?
So there are, I'm not sure about robin nests that do get parasitized, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They do also lay blue eggs though, some parasites, but yeah, they have host specificity too. So certain brood parasites lay eggs in only certain host nests. It's not random. So yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, please do feel free to look this up, and I will also look it up and we can have a discussion. All right, I am going to the next question. Okay, so I don't know how many of you attended Sahas's talk, Dr. Sahas Barve's talk. It was a guest lecture, and he talked about how he did a study on these tiny birds that live in high altitude, cold climatic regions. And despite being so small and having a very small surface area to volume ratio, they are still able to stay warm.
Down feathers.
Right. So they do have a large proportion of down feathers. Is everyone familiar with what are down feathers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So in the figure shown alongside, like this is the downy part. I don't know the pointer. I think I'm again going to lose my mouse if I turn on the pointer. But yeah, this is the downy part. So the downy part is actually much larger in proportion to the other part. And this is how birds in uh, colder regions, small birds in colder regions are able to survive despite having a very small body which would, well, lose heat really fast.
Uh, yes, ma'am. Does this affect their flight in some way?
Uh, the down feathers.
The larger proportion of downy feathers
Uh,
in gold crests.
yeah, so I think the down feathers are, what do you say, accumulated or concentrated in the breast part, in the front, and it's fairly inside. So if you see the, if you take a bird in the hand, like the flight feathers are still going to be intact, but it's the down feathers in the breast region that have these kind of structural arrangements in the feathers. So no, it does not affect flight as such, because goldcrests also do migrate very long distances. So yeah, migration is not affected by this. It's really fascinating how you can have such small birds that migrate long distances and migrate to high elevation areas and live in really cold climates and still survive. Yeah, I think yeah, this was Sahas's also inspiration to go further and delve deeper into this topic and try and figure out how exactly they are able to thermoregulate at very high altitudes and cold environments. Okay, so next question. Right. So salt balance is important in birds, and well, it's how do seabirds maintain a salt balance in their systems? Sorry for the
Through their tube noses, there is a
Salt
small
glands.
hole in the nose, in the beak.
Salt
Salt
glands,
glands.
ma'am.
Yeah,
right.
tube noses. There is a hole in the above their beaks, through which they secrete the excess salt, which they usually ingest by preying on the fishes in the ocean. I don't know the exact term, but yeah,
Yeah, I
tube
think
noses. That's why
Govindas
they are called tube
mentioned
noses.
the term. So they are known as salt glands that are found here. Where's the figure?
That's why they are called as tube noses.
Right. So you have the salt glands in the head that enable uh, enable excess salt excretion.
Ma'am, do seagulls come under this group? Tube
Yeah,
noses?
so that is actually an example of a seagull, actually. So,
Oh,
yeah, they do have salt glands.
and frigate birds too?
Yes, I would assume so too, because they do fall under the category of seabirds.
But
So
they
all the
can't.
pelagic birds, usually all the pelagic birds come under this.
Yeah.
But frigate birds can't really get into the water all that at all, right, ma'am? They
But
are
they do prey on, fishes which are high in salt concentration, right?
right.
Okay, so that's settled. Okay, so next question. So this is a fun a fun project that I actually was. I was not a part of this, but I was there when this was being examined. So, what are eggshells made of?
Calcium?
Yeah, so it's calcium carbonate or something calcium related. So what these scientists there's this school bird known as the greater ani, or there are like three different ani species that are found in Central to South America, and they have this very interesting. They are actually neotropical cuckoos, and the word, I think, cuckoo itself might relate to brood parasitism. But yes, not all cuckoos are brood parasites. These are actually communal nesters, which means that pairs of multiple cuckoos come together and they lay all their eggs in one nest. So you might have four pairs that come together, and a female will lay an egg in the nest. But so, has anyone heard of these communally?
Social breeding or communal breeding.
Yeah, usually in
Communal
some
breeding
of
or
the
social
pelagic
breeding,
birds,
right?
Sorry.
communal breeding and social breeding are one are the same, like both are same.
Yes, communal breeding means they're usually like breeding together in the same nest. So cooperative breeders. It's another overarching term.
That's what. One couple lays the eggs, and others, the whole colony takes over. I mean, it takes care of it. That's actually community breeding, ma'am.
Right. No. Actually, out here in this communal breeding, these cooperatively breeding cuckoos, all the females lay their eggs, and all the parents take turns in raising the chicks.
Like emperor penguins, right, ma'am?
Okay.
I'm not really sure of the
So
breeding
emperor
structure in
penguin
this.
actually everybody lays eggs and they take care of their own eggs, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought, but yeah,
Well,
I'm not sure. Like, yeah, please.
I know the breeding pattern. I can describe it to you, and you can explain how if it works. Emperor penguins, well, the females lay the egg, and then the male, and then they go after fish. Whereas fish in the oceans, while the male emperor penguins they huddle together to keep themselves and the eggs warm.
So
Right,
it's
but
one male to one nest, right?
Here the observation is that every pair is laying the egg.
Yeah.
In the other example, what I think Shiti was or Lakshmi was saying is that there is a community, but other parents forego or pairs forego their breeding just to raise or support that one particular pair in the whole community.
Right. So those are helper birds. So helper birds do exist in also cooperative breeding structures where they do not lay their own egg. Instead, they help in raising the offspring of either their mother or their siblings, because they do have a fitness consequence to that, because they are able to pass on 0.25% or 0.5% of their genes.
So in a family, in a sense, the entire family or community takes care of one or few pairs of birds.
Yeah, so actually in this cooperative breeding system of at least the greater Ani, so there will be a group that forms of, let's say, 3 pairs. So 3 pairs means 6 individuals, right? So in these 6 individuals, you have 3 females and 3 males, and each of the 3 female will lay her eggs in the nest, and all the males and females will take turns in incubating and raising the chicks, sorry, plural.
Right, ma'am. So they all take turns raising
Right.
the eggs.
But the cool part about these birds is they still have an innate cuckoo-like behavior in them. So let's say, okay, this is like extra information, but you have, like, let's say 3 females, A, B, and C. So female A is the first one to lay her egg in the nest, and immediately as soon as the first female lays her egg, it's like synchronous egg laying. So all the 3 females lay their eggs. But now when female B goes to lay her egg in the nest, she will eject the eggs of female A. So that cuckoo-like behavior is still there, and the next time she comes to lay her egg, she won't eject any of the eggs because she does not know which egg is hers and which egg is someone else's. Does this make sense?
But in that case, all eggs are laid in the same nest.
All eggs are laid in the same nest.
So could you repeat that? I didn't quite get.
Okay, so female A lays her first egg in the nest and she goes away. Female B comes, she sees she has not laid her first egg and she sees another egg in the nest. She wants to maximize her fitness success. So she ejects the female A's first egg and she lays her first egg, right? So egg A1 is gone and egg B1 is in the nest. Now female C comes in. She hasn't laid a single egg in the nest. She sees B1 egg. She ejects that and she lays egg C1, right? Now female A1 comes to the nest. I mean, female A comes to the nest to lay her egg, but she's already laid her first egg and she does not know which egg is hers. She does not know that whether the C1 egg is hers or belongs to C1. So she lays her egg, but she does not eject any other egg in the nest.
So a kind of balance is reached.
Right. So technically, the female that lays her egg last is kind of maximizing her odds of having more number of offspring in the nest.
Yeah, but that also maximizing is okay, but that also has another parameter.
Mm-hmm.
If the frequency of laying eggs is more, otherwise it would be like if it's like one per season or something.
No. I think they lay about
I mean, for
4
this
or 5,
example,
4
yeah,
to 5 eggs. Yeah.
for this example, it may work out well because even the A2 egg might also succeed with C1, something like that,
Okay.
right? But if there is another case where there is per pair there is only one egg or something like that, then in that case only C1 will succeed.
Okay. Yeah. So interesting point, Sachin. So in the case of a species laying only one egg, do you think there will be any advantage of cooperative breeding?
Understood.
Yeah. So a great point raised. Great point raised. So I'm glad that we are connecting a lot of dots. So cooperative breeding will probably evolve in societies where you need a large amount of parental care, and more the number of parents, better it is. So yes, they are probably a species that lays a large number of eggs. I think eggs can go up to maybe I think 15 or 20 in a particular nest. So if you have,
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt. In this, these kind of cooperative parenting setup,
uh-huh.
uh, you say that all the females lay their eggs, and one by one, all they take their turns to, you know, help it raise the chicks. Okay,
Correct.
but you also say that there is another one kind where, as I said, one or two pairs lays the eggs, and the entire colony comes and supports it. You say that helper birds.
Right.
How does in that setup the gene is genetic information is passed on, and how I mean, like those
Okay.
birds which help, they
Uh-huh.
miss out on breeding, right? They
They
miss out on.
they miss out on passing, yeah, 0.5% of the genetic material. But if they are shared, so if they share about 25% of the genetic material with their sister or with their like the F1
How do they
generation.
share, ma'am? How do they share? Like only two or three couples they lay the eggs. The rest of the other birds they help them out. So those helper birds they don't lay eggs on their own, right? They don't
Correct,
lay
correct,
eggs.
correct, correct. But you share, for example, with your sibling, you share 5% of the 0.25% of the genome, right, from your parents.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah.
in that way, the amount of genetic material that is passed on is related
Okay.
to you, not directly but indirectly.
So
So
what's the significance of the sacrifice,
so
ma'am?
this,
Any
yeah,
significance?
exactly. So that's a good point. So it's probably more beneficial. Yeah, so there is a term there, kin selection, correct. So it's more beneficial to probably help your mother or sister raise offspring than you going away and finding your own nest or making a nest of your own. So there are different life history strategies that can come into play. And
Um,
yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Very sorry to
go
interrupt, ma'am.
ahead.
I was just asking a question. How are helper birds? How do helper birds come about? How are they chosen?
How are they chosen? So they usually like offspring that tend to hang around. So helper birds also have another advantage. In addition to helping, they also learn how to manage a nest. So we are talking about like different societies. Uh, let's not like probably jump through different species types. So sometimes if a this is not the cooperative breeding structure. You also have a structure where you have a dominant male and a female, and they lay their eggs, and their eggs are taken care by like helper birds or siblings or aunts or whatever. But when the dominant female dies, one of the helper birds have a chance to become the uh, not alpha bird, but yeah, the dominant bird in that nest, right? So they are picking up skills, and sometimes helper birds also leave the nest to start their own nest, but remain helpers maybe for the first season or 2 seasons. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of the dynamics, but yeah.
So does it mean that in cooperative breeding, the leading pair will always lay the egg remain
No,
the
no,
same?
no. Yeah, so this is like cooperative breeding can have like different aspects to it. You can have like a setup
Hmm.
where there is like a dominant male and female, or two females that are dominant and only lay eggs and suppress egg laying of other females. But in
Hmm.
this case of the communally roosting, communally nesting greater Rani, all the females lay eggs.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
Yeah. So there are multiple social structures.
Okay.
So anyway,
Did
okay.
you have any question about this ABC thing?
Sorry.
Did you have any question about this ABC
Yeah, so
eggshells?
I was actually trying to explain the school substance that is found on the eggshell. There's no question related to this. So what these scientists found was that it had an extra layer of this particular substance known as vaterite. And they were wondering as to why vaterite is found. It's a very rare substance. They were wondering as to why this is found on the eggshell. So they had several different hypotheses to test the presence of vaterite on eggshells. And first they thought it would minimize desiccation. So basically, it means that water loss will be lesser in eggshells that have a vaterite coating. So as you can see, when the egg is laid, it looks like it is in figure A, which is a white colored egg. When it is scratched off, it is showing to be, a little bit of bluish color. And when it is experimentally completely removed, you can just see the blue color layer underneath, right? So they wanted to test what is this white layer and why is it actually there. So given that all the information that I gave you right now, what do you think could be a reason for an extra layer to be present on this eggshell?
Identification.
Mm,
Either it has been tempered or
Nutrition,
not, something like.
nutrition, nutrition to the chicks inside.
no.
Ins-
Thermoregulation.
No, so yeah, so they actually were looking at whether it does prevent desiccation or loss of water from the eggshell. But they did an experiment and they showed and they found that this particular substance had no role in water. So yeah, Saptarshi mentions shock absorber. So yes, vaterite is actually used for mechanical strength. And why do you need mechanical strength, an additional layer of coating for mechanical strength in a nest like this?
Maybe they are ground nesters, ground dwellers, like, or they are prone to fall down or roll away.
So yeah, good that you mentioned this. So they are not ground nesters. They nest in nests that are overhanging
But
water.
that's what falling off scare is real.
No,
So
not falling. If it's fallen into the water, it's gone.
Which region are they localized to?
Central and South America. Yeah, they nest on the banks of overhanging trees on water. So if you see the Panama Canal, you'll have like a lot of trees that overhang the canal, and they make their nests like just
Like the Hodgson.
like the Hudson. Yeah, but these chicks don't have. Yeah, if they fall into water, yeah, I think they die. They can't climb out. Okay, so we discussed that there can be multiple eggs inside a nest, right? So there can be a lot of mechanical, there's a lot of stress in terms of movement because I don't know if you are aware, all eggs need to be turned when they are in the nest. So a parent bird usually turns all the eggs in the nest so that they are uniformly incubated, right? So when you have about like 10 to 20 eggs in a nest, you need to have some some substance to prevent it from getting smashed, right? So this does act as a substance that provides strength to the shells. So yeah, that was just a extra bit of information. Yeah, I think I'm more or less done with the questions. Do I have any other? Okay, fine. I have one more.
then
What?
then excuse me, ma'am. Then this turning of eggs is done by every bird, like those who.
Correct.
Yeah, then every bird should have this rat, right, ma'am? Only why only those?
Why only those birds? Okay, so there are probably very few nests where you have 20 eggs in a nest.
What? What? 20?
Yeah, so they are communally breeding, right? So they have multiple females and each
Oh,
female
okay,
lays
yeah, yeah,
multiple
yeah.
eggs.
So all communal breeding birds have such kind of protection.
No, not really actually. If I am aware, this was only found in this particular bird, but that's an interesting question to also search upon and explore.
Ma'am, are communal breeders and cooperative breeders the same thing or?
Well, cooperative breeders, yeah, we're just like interchanging the words. I can look it up and exactly see.
Because well, I seem to recall certain seabirds like guillemots or auks called communal breeders, but they don't. They're
They
nothing
don't.
like
They are not
the.
cooperative.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They,
So they
they rest in
breed
a,
communally together
yeah,
in a particular area, but they don't really help each other.
pretty much. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have their own individual nest
Yeah.
in a kind of large society.
Yeah. So I
But
think
the
that's probably the correct.
cooperative breeding definition was when there was one pair laying the eggs and others helper, right?
Right. But even in this, they are in fact helping each other out
No,
in
but
this
are
case.
other pairs actually laying the eggs? That is the
Yes.
difference I
Yes.
was talking about.
Yes. In
But
this bird,
in case of the cooperative breeding, others were actually not laying the eggs. There is only one pair which was laying the egg, and other were just taking care of, right?
so there is an example.
Jungle babbler thing.
Oh, is that oh, okay. I'm not aware of that, but
I mean, what I got from the video was that jungle babbler is a cooperative breeding species. So there is only one single breeding pair, and others are parental care, providing the
right.
parental care.
And you have
So,
helpers, right?
sorry.
And you have helper birds.
Yeah, so they were actually foregoing their own breeding
Right,
just to
right,
help the. So if that is the case, then communal would be, as you explained, there are multiple pairs laying eggs in a common nest or something,
right,
and taking care of all are taking care of the common resources, basically the eggs.
right,
Whereas in the cooperative, it will be just one pair laying the eggs, and others are helping in incubating, hatching, and all this thing, or taking care of the offsprings.
right.
Is that correct? I don't know.
I
Because
think
cooperative, I am sure this is the definition that they have given.
yeah, sure. I mean, like, we can just do a slide later on it
Sure.
with the correct definitions. I don't want to be giving wrong information.
Agree.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are the bird adaptations for flight? There are so many.
Hollow bones.
Sorry, hollow bones. Okay, sure. I wish I don't have like a pen to. I can't write on this.
Primary and secondary for feather development.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Higher
And tail
metabolism.
feathers also.
Higher
The
metabolism.
the air sacs for
Yeah.
the lungs, basically adaptation.
Yeah.
And pneumatic bones, pneumatized bones.
Yeah. Okay. Skeleton.
Aerodynamic body.
Sorry.
Greater,
Carina development.
greater nucleated blood cells.
Okay. Yes.
The
And carina
aerodynamics.
development.
Yes. Air sacs. Yes. What else?
Four-chambered hearts.
Yeah.
And also the lack of proper teeth, gizzards.
I'm
No,
not sure how
because
it helps in flight though.
Actually, it does help in flight, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Please.
Well, I saw this in a YouTube video once. Before the KT mass extinction, there were birds with teeth that could fly and it's called the ornithines.
Mm-hmm.
But after the extinction, the only the birds that with beaks were left.
Right.
There are several reasons for this because after the asteroid hit, the only food resources available were like seeds and worms, which could be accessed only with beaks. But another reason is that teeth, on average, is a lot heavier than beaks. So birds without teeth could
exactly, no teeth
better
adds
fly.
on to the weight of the bird. So that's why they might have gizzards. They adapted to have gizzards in them, which and they don't urinate and defecate properly. They do it in one pass. Before they take a flight, they pass off the they excrete and then they fly.
Right.
That's also a flight adaptation because they don't have to hold on to it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's correct. What are the other things?
The body structure, which was basically the input taken for the bullet trains and all this thing from the kingfisher, the nose diving part.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Sensory protection.
Sensory protection,
As in, like I saw this about peregrine falcons. Since they dive at extreme speed, they have these covering over their eyes, which protects them from the.
oh,
They,
yeah. What is the name of that?
I
Nictitating membrane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
What was that? Can you repeat?
Nictitating membrane. Let me just.
Sharks also have that, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, they
In
do.
owls, in all the raptors, they have, ma'am. Owls, they have. The harriers, they have.
And in some birds, it's very evident. Yeah.
Even the desert birds have it to avoid the sand getting into the ice during sandstorms.
Right. Yeah. What else? What else? Do you know a lot of birds have lesser organs?
Feathers.
Feathers, yes, of course, yes, adaptation for flight. So a lot of birds don't have like a gallbladder. They have a reduced ovary. So female birds, I think of most species, have only one functional ovary, and that is because of yeah, just reducing internal organs to maximize on flight. Absence of urinary bladder. Do they not have a urinary? Yeah, probably. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ovary, I'm actually surprised about ovary being the reproductive organ.
Yeah.
Why was that adopted compared to the other organs?
I don't I don't really know, but yeah, it's I think the uh, I'm not really sure about the reproductive system, but of the functioning of the reproductive system. But yes, one ovary is rudimentary, and one is. I guess if they had to knock off something, they just knocked off one of it.
Seeing the other things like, okay, I forego my weight in the bones. Okay,
Right,
I go forego my some of the bones, and then I go forego my teeth. That is
right.
somewhat understandable. But when you actually forego a part of your reproductive system, it's as good as maybe are you actually going in the direction of reducing your offsprings or continuation your lineage or something. That's what I'm thinking. I may be wrong.
Yeah, I think the frequency of releasing eggs is probably balanced by maybe it's a higher frequency by just one ovary.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not sure of that. This is just I'm just speculating. I can look this up. Yeah. So yeah, I think all of you have a good idea of what are the adaptations of birds for flight. I'm actually done with questions for now. If anyone has any other questions, yeah, please feel free to ask, or I'll just make a note of them. I don't know if you all prefer to have a more discussion based session or more of an MCQ based session.
The present one is better, ma'am, because
Yeah, it
we get to
was.
have the questions
Okay,
also. We can discuss also.
okay, okay, okay. Yeah,
The
cool.
hybrid model is good, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
this is very much informative and maybe stimulating as well.
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's near as near as can be to a classroom.
yeah,
Perfect, Lakshmi, perfect.
yeah. We
It kind of feels like a classroom.
Yeah, kind of. Actually, frankly speaking, I missed out on studying ornithology in graduation. So it's as close as I can get to it because, as I said, it was just the dates. The last date for applying for a bachelor's degree was one, and I got placed in another college for other field, microbiology field, just one day later. If I had known too that there was this college which was giving out ornithology thing, I would have applied to it. Just one day, completely threw my life's travel in a different. And now I came back to ornithology after a decade. So it's
that's
just that it's close to a what to say, teacher student symbiosis. You get to learn from us, we get to learn from you.
Yeah,
This
sure.
is, I think
I
it's
mean,
very healthy.
yeah,
We feel it's good.
yeah, also we don't know everything, so I think I can very openly
I
admit that.
was I was skeptical about a bioscience subject to have online course. I have never seen online courses for biological sciences with it because they are practical oriented also.
Right.
But this one, like, I was very skeptical when I started. One of my professors said, "Go do this. It's very good." So then when I did this, now I'm happy. This is the hybrid model which actually motivates us to think more outside the box, and many things which you guys have discussed. I'm sure this will be recorded. We can
Yeah,
get back to it. We can get back to it, and we can also note down. And there are lots of ways, lots of leads arises from this.
sure.
Thinking
Yeah.
leads.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I'm really I must really thank all of you for actively participating because I have TA'd for a course earlier as well, and yeah, having a monologue is not really fun. So yeah, thanks for participating.
Well, actually, ma'am, I took this course, ornithology course last year, and I feel this year around, the course is a bit better since it's involves more action on our part.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I mean, yeah, I think it's just better to have a two-way discussion because yeah, at least it stimulates more discussion. It's quite boring to, yeah, just have something being put forward by one person.
Well, the last year I tried to take the exam, but it kind of clashed with my college exams too. I
Okay.
was unable to take it, so I decided to try my luck this time around.
Oh, okay, cool.
Probably you guys are more closer to the biology or zoology thing. I am completely off the field. I am an engineer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
a decade ago I was microbiologist. Now I am a homemaker, interested in birds.
yeah.
So
Jyoti also
I'm
mentions the same thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm just a college student. I'm actually also completely different from the field.
Okay.
I'm in a law course actually. I've always liked animals since I was a boy, so I thought I'd take this.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's always fun to have people from different backgrounds because sometimes you get insights to ornithology based on your previous experience that an ornithologist in the field since forever would not have thought of.
I agree to this point.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have been into. I mean, my intention to join this course was purely based on my hobby. I tried to. I mean, I found this course quite late, around the month of January, maybe last year. But
Right.
by that time, registrations were closed. So I had sent a few messages to, I think, mostly Ghosh ma'am onto Facebook, link us in, but there was no response. But
Okay.
then I found that okay, it will be coming again next year. So this time I registered.
Yeah.
I've been bird watching. I've been doing bird watching since last maybe 10, 15,
For me,
15
it
years
was
now.
like, yeah, for me, it is like, a grand piece of puzzle, which I'm trying to put together so that I can finally get into the field which I always wanted, ornithology.
Yeah,
So all
that's
these
great.
courses which I am doing this course, and also there is one BNHS course which I'm going to do in
Oh,
August.
Right.
So these two courses will be like a entry, gate open for people like outside of academia to get into ornithology and do PhD. As I've already done MSc,
Right.
so I was thinking of doing PhD, and all these courses gives me so many leads and so many thought processes,
Right.
which at least when I rattle it, at least one or two thesis points will come out of it.
Yeah.
So then I will go and hunt for some guide or something.
Yeah.
But I am really wanting to do a PhD in ornithology somehow at least.
That's good motivation. Yeah. So yeah, really glad to have all of you here. Yeah, thanks Jyoti also for joining in. Don't worry about not being techie to reply fast. I'm looking at the chat box too. Yeah,
I have
don't.
actually a suggestion for Jyoti ma'am. Maybe they can, she can start talking. So that will be quite comfortable
Yeah.
for her and us as well. So I think your experience can help us in maybe instigating some more questions.
Yeah, please feel free to talk. And also, I think,
Okay.
yes, hello, Jyoti.
Hi.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Yeah, I also do understand that if there are a lot of people talking, it becomes really difficult to put your point. So Govind has been raising his hand, so that is a good way to go forward. So yeah, please just feel free to jump in. It's nice to have a lot of people talking.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Good.
and
Ma'am,
yeah,
again, if we suppose we get the certificate from this course, can it help us pursue a greater ornithology to a greater extent in the future?
Uh, well, I don't know if the certificate itself has value in terms of, yeah, just another degree. But I think the knowledge that you gain by what you are, yeah, learning from this course, that's probably a greater asset, in my opinion.
I, as I know from earlier explanations about this certificate, uh, this is the credit course basically, even for the people or students who are actually taking this course in the colleges for their degree, if I'm not wrong.
Right. Yeah,
So
some of
it
them get
can.
credits, but yeah, I'm not really sure of, yeah.
So the staff or the professors were explaining in that fashion, saying that this is the same material that usually goes to those students as well. But if you're really interested, one option is based on this certificate, you can actually start collaboration with the existing professors, maybe from ICER or BNHS or
Yeah,
anything for
good
your
point, Sachin. Yeah,
your own study or interest, or you can start taking up another course which is a specialization in the ornithology or related department in maybe ISC or ISR or somewhere. So this can at least help you to get that
network.
visibility along the networking in
Yeah,
the related uh, teaching staff, I guess.
yeah, totally agree to that. This is a very rare platform where you have a lot of expert faculty who interact with the students. So definitely a good opportunity to network and pursue leads and ideas if you want to do something, yeah, further in this field. So yeah.
Why specifically ornithology was chosen in NPTEL, ma'am?
Oh, there are
Oh,
like tons of courses. NPTEL
yeah.
is a
No, I mean,
huge forum.
no, I meant like there are tons of wildlife based areas, but ornithology was the only one I could find. Are there others too, or?
Oh, yeah,
No,
there
no.
is a course on wildlife ecology which I TA'd for last
Forestry also is there. Forestry is also there.
yeah. There are a huge bunch of courses. I think it's just probably about the keywords. So there is, I think, environmental ecology as well. There are, but I
Yeah,
think
environmental ecology, environmental law, forestry, and forest maintenance. All those things are there.
Lakshmi's gone through all of it. Yeah, she's the resource
Yes,
person.
ma'am. I had to go through it because I wanted to see if there is any other after basic course. There is if there is any other intermediate course or something. I
Right.
was in that lookout, but I could find only basic course. And when I saw it was started by Suhail sir and Ashwin sir, then I had no other doubt. I jumped into the bandwagon.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of other courses. Do feel free to join them. And since they're online, they're kind of self-paced, except for these live sessions that happen. I think this course has several live sessions. So I think today's was kind of overlapping with another faculty session, but or very close to another faculty session.
Yeah, 5 to 6 and 6 to 8, right?
Yeah, yeah. For like, hats off to all of you or any of you who have been here for 3 hours.
Can you guys, I wanted to put that forward. Yeah, it's too much to ask for somebody who's doing online course, but still, if it is not in this way back to back, it would be like a bit
Yeah,
of a helpful
we
for homemakers, you know.
we
For
did
homemakers,
try actually, Lakshmi. Yeah, sorry about this. We did try, but we have certain. We need to fulfill some requirements. So Jobin and
yeah,
me
I
have
understand. Yeah, I
changed the
understand, ma'am.
slots.
The thing is that 5 to 8 is the most important time for a homemaker. Kids come, they have to eat, and the husband comes, they have to eat and do the work and everything, right? So after 8 o'clock, we are free. Before 5 o'clock, we are
So
free.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the
So the slots that NPTEL gives us is between this period, so we can only choose.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
So
Okay, you are not the person to be saying that. I have sent a mail to NPTEL of the clashes. Still, it's just that you guys are much more in talking terms with NPTEL, so I thought you might put across them.
it's actually frozen now for the entire 12 weeks. So
I yes, ma'am.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
would
so the
like
thing is
to
that,
agree.
yeah,
Well, because I'm a college student and I get back home only at 7. Today I had taken it off because I wasn't feeling well. So most of the time I might not be. I felt it would be easier to have such online sessions on Saturday or Sunday.
yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
I don't mind sitting for hours, ma'am. 4 hours, 5 hours, I can sit easily because it's very interesting subject. The
Right.
thing is that the timing,
That
because
will
I
be yeah.
have another role of homemaker also, no, so that role has to be because otherwise,
Sure,
na jute
sure.
marenge mujhe, jute padenge
Yeah.
mujhe if I keep
Sure.
sitting in front of.
I think we all are, yeah, we all have our time constraints and requirements. We are also students. We go to field. Yeah, it's just difficult to get like the ideal time slot. But the cool part about this is that it is recorded, so you can always come back to this in case you miss them. And also, I would like to say yes, thank you again for joining in and actively participating. Actually, I've just realized we've all been talking on record, so I'm going to stop the recording. It's been